Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're continuing our coverage of the ongoing situation between Ukraine and the Russian Federation. It's January 12th, 2022. We continue to hear about the deployment of Russian forces along the border with Ukraine. We are hearing in some reports that the Russian buildup in terms of heavy armored forces may be slowing. So again, we don't really know what that means, but there is already a significant concentration of Russian forces in excess of, depending on which source you are looking at or hearing from, again, anywhere from a total force composition of 90 to upwards to 150,000 personnel. But again, very difficult to say at this point what Putin is doing and what the Russian general staff current assignments are at this point. With that being said, there appears to be other buildups underway, specifically the deployment of additional helicopter assets and fixed wing strike aircraft being further deployed to the border of Ukraine. And in my previous episode, I talked about the prospect of something, if there is a conflict, we could see something different than what we traditionally see from the Russian armed forces. I think a lot of analysts have it in their mind that there is going to be this massive mechanized onslaught of Russian tanks crossing the border at various points and conducting some sort of lightning war or blitzkrieg against the Ukrainian armed forces. What I would contend is that I think it's highly likely we could see some sort of air campaign prior to a major movement of forces. And again, it really depends on what the mission that has been set forth by the Russian military, what exactly what that looks like and how much territory are they aiming to take control over. But again, initially, I think we're way too focused, meaning meaning analysts watching from afar, that believe this will be strictly this massive mechanized attack. But again, we've seen the Russians in recent history, not including the 2008 war in Georgia, but more specifically, some of their operations that have been taking place in Syria. So again, the Russian military, the Russian Air Force, has gained valuable experience in its operations in Syria. And we are seeing the Russians now use more fixed wing assets dropping what we would define as precision guided bombs on targets. Now, for the most part, those precision guided bombs are GLONASS guided bombs, but they also obviously utilize cruise missiles to a great extent as well. And those include Iskander type cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. We have seen the KH-101 being deployed by Russian strategic bombers assets. And we continue to see the deployment of Caliber cruise missiles being launched from both ships and submarines. And again, Russia has deployed all of those systems within the theater around Ukraine. So again, the idea that we would initially see this massive wave of Russian armor crash into Ukraine, while still possible, again, you cannot eliminate the prospect that we would see a Russian air campaign, much like the first Gulf War with the United States. Obviously, in the second Gulf War, the United States did launch a air campaign, but the Iraqi forces had been significantly degraded prior to the launch of the 2003 Gulf War. Now, with that being said, the 91 Gulf War looked a bit different in terms of a 30-day air campaign. Now, would the Russians launch a 30-day air campaign against the Ukrainians? Again, difficult to say, but that capability is definitely there. If we look at this air base here, which is just across the border, about a dozen miles as a bird flies, maybe a little less if you consider this the border area. But again, this air base very, very close to the Ukrainian border, and you can see that they have been positioning. And I don't know how old this image is. This would indicate a 2021 uh, shot by Maxar Technologies, but clearly you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and those appear to be Su-30s, multi-role fighter bombers. And again, these can drop the GLONASS precision guided weapon system. Again, much like a U.S. JDAM. Again, these do not require these GLONASS bombs just require a fixed coordinate from the designated target, inputted into the bomb, and it will glide and hit said target just like a U.S. JDAM will. So again, the U.S. uses JDAM, and they also use laser guided bombs as well. The United States, or both, with both a laser guided and a JDAM capability in terms of the use of the U.S. attack pods. Now, again, the Russians don't use attack pods as much as the United States, or nowhere near what the United States utilizes. Again, the Russians still drop a lot of dumb bombs, but they also have that capability to drop these GLONASS guided bombs as well. They also have a more advanced ballistic calculator inside of a lot of these aircraft, which also have the ability to drop dumb bombs a little bit more accurately than some of our Western counterparts. And that system escapes me at the moment, but again, it's in a lot of these systems, especially the Su-24s, have been upgraded with that system, which is a more of a calculation type of site utilizing a ballistic computer dropping those bombs. But again, you can see here very, very large air base actively being used with a host of both what appears to be Su-30s, and over here these look to be MiG-29s. But again, the idea that again we would see this hot start and waves of Russian tanks crossing the border, I think is something that we may not in fact initially see during the course of this conflict. And again, the whole idea of the ground freezing before Russia would launch an operation, or even waiting until after the ground starts to unfreeze, I think is something that, for whatever reason, analysts are way too focused on. If the Russians really want to launch an invasion of Ukraine, they would find a way to do it in the summer, the spring, the fall, the dead of winter, really any climate condition. They would have that capability to do it. Again, hearkening back to World War II, the Russians fought the Germans in the Ukraine quite literally for several years, and in in Western Russia for several years, 42, 43, 44, and then towards 45, they were, obviously fighting more in Poland and in other areas. But again, the fighting in this area is the Russians are very experienced at this. They understand the territory, they understand the land, and they understand obviously the weather itself. And they've conducted operations both in terms of training and real world military operations, really in any season in Russia. So again, I would say that don't look too closely for that theory around the ground freezing. Obviously, it could be a benefit, depending on the type of strategy that Russia is looking to execute. But I think initially, and I think it's highly probable, we will see some sort of air campaign by the Russians that again looked very much like quite possibly the first 91 Gulf War in terms of softening those targets up inside of Ukraine. But again, we're going to keep our eye on the situation and, of course, report. And that's what we have for today. More to come in the near future. Have a good day, everybody.